Even in the final year of the current technical cycle, ground-effect Formula One cars continue to deliver surprises. In Formula One, no single solution makes the difference on its own. Rather, it is the overall design that determines the quality of the package. However, this awareness does not prevent admiration for the creativity or uniqueness of certain choices, through which the different philosophies of the teams become apparent. In this video, we review the most striking solutions on the new single-seater, starting with Haas and Ferrari's ideas regarding the pull rod system. One of the most highly discussed topics in February was Ferrari's decision to switch to a pull rod front suspension. In the fourth year of the ground effect regulations, the dualism between the pull rod and push rod setups remains, with neither gaining definitive supremacy. The superiority of one over the other depends on the aerodynamic philosophy in which it is integrated, as well as the stage of development of each project. What is most surprising about the Maranello team's decision is the timing, demonstrating great boldness in making such a significant change in the final year of the regulations. The implications of a new suspension design are fully evident in Haas's contrasting choice, a first in the team's history. The Italian-American squad opted to remain loyal to the old pushrod setup, not for cost reasons, as evidenced by the development of a new chassis for the VF25. Switching to a pull rod system, however, would have had an initially negative impact, opening up a new development path with greater potential, but carrying the risk of early performance struggles due to an immature concept. Haas's decision to prioritize continuity is therefore understandable, aiming for a strong start to the season, while Ferrari's daring move is emblematic of its championship ambitions. Ferrari and McLaren, who fought for the 2024 F1 title until the final round in Abu Dhabi, have stood out for extreme philosophies with their 2025 cars. The world champions have shown great courage with the MCL 39 single-seater, aware that they must make a significant leap forward to defend their 2024 Formula One title. The level of innovation in the project is evident in the new front suspension, which can rightly be described as extreme. The steep inclination of the wishbones reflects a philosophy focused on maximizing aerodynamics, both by stabilizing the floor and conditioning airflow. On the other hand, some industry experts remain skeptical, questioning whether the geometry might make McLaren's suspension excessively stiff, hindering its ability to absorb curbs and limiting the options to adjust balance. In this context, Ferrari's front end also stands out, being diametrically opposed. In addition to the new pull rod design, the suspension of the SF25 features the least inclined wishbones of all the cars, an indication of a project that places greater emphasis on mechanical and dynamic aspects. McLaren's steering deserves a special mention. The Woking-based team had already stood out in 2024, when, on the MCL 38, the steering system was moved back behind the lower suspension wishbone. This solution has now been adopted by Mercedes with the W16, but in the meantime, McLaren has pushed the concept further. On the MCL 39 single-seater, the steering has been raised above the lower wishbone, positioning it ahead of the rearmost element, a configuration that presents significant challenges for integrating the system within the chassis. Aerodynamic or mechanical advantages. These are two sides of the same coin, aiming to find the best compromise. This architecture creates a double cascade of profiles to direct airflow toward the floor, while also influencing the different steering dynamics of the inner and outer wheels. In turn, this affects tire utilization as well as the aerodynamic impact of turbulent wake from the wheels. Its effectiveness will only be assessed on track, but in the meantime, McLaren demonstrates a creative mindset, thinking outside the box. Now let's move on to Red Bull's new car. The RB21's track debut raised quite a few doubts, even leading some to question whether the Anglo-Austrian team had presented last season's car. As later explained by technical director Pierre Wache, the Austrian team has revamped several non-visible areas of the new single-seater, including the floor and the internal mechanics of the spring damper units. Garage images also reveal a different radiator layout under the engine cover, suggested by the closure of certain air intakes and modifications to the bodywork. Red Bull's case exemplifies how teams focus primarily on hidden areas, particularly with ground-effect Formula One cars. Regardless of its on-track results, the RB21 serves as a reminder not to judge a new project based purely on its visual appearance. Aston Martin, on the other hand, hollows out the side pods. With its 2025 Formula One project, the Silverstone-based team aims to address the aerodynamic instability and unpredictable handling of its 2024 car, focusing on a deep evolution of the 2025 single-seater. The most striking feature of the AMR25 is its dramatically sculpted side pods, hollowed out to the extreme at the lower section, making Aston Martin's side pods the slimmest on the grid. The British team appears to be taking a different approach from its rivals, prioritizing airflow management along the lower part of the car toward the gearbox and diffuser, at the expense of the carbon fiber surface used to deflect external turbulence. Alpine and Williams are on a strict budget, and their decisions reflect this direction. Pre-season expectations suggested that some teams would reuse their 2024 chassis, and that has indeed happened. Alpine and Williams have carried over last season's chassis, setting themselves apart from the competition. Teams had already appreciated the benefits of this practice in 2021 when the FIA mandated chassis freezing in response to the economic crisis caused by the pandemic. Starting from a familiar base ensures continuity in the package, while also defining project constraints earlier, allowing aerodynamic development to begin ahead of time, albeit with less design freedom. The originality lies in working in an alternative way to ensure sufficient development in order to keep pace with rivals who have introduced brand-new chassis. However, the savings from not redesigning the chassis can be reinvested in the project for the 2026 Formula One Championship, a year of major regulatory changes that will undoubtedly bring more examples of creativity. Now it is finally time for the 2025 Formula One season to start, with just 1 week until the first round of the championship, the Australian Grand Prix at the 5.278-kilometre Albert Park Grand Prix circuit in Melbourne. For the first time since 1999, McLaren will begin the new Formula One season as the defending Constructors' Champions. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri took the Papaya squad back to the top of the charts last term, and they will head into the 2025 season as the favorites as well. The data collected during the Formula One pre-season testing session at the Bahrain circuit last weekend indicated that McLaren have a solid pace advantage against Ferrari and other teams ahead of the 2025 season, with the MCL39 looking like a great evolution of their constructors' title-winning car. Many also think Lando Norris is the 2025 pre-season F1 title favorite after coming short last term. But Ferrari still have a lot to prove in terms of consistent development throughout a season, and the upcoming campaign will be the best opportunity for Ferrari team principal Frederic Vasseur and his technical team to show they can recover also with the help of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, the best lineup on the grid for the 2025 Formula One Championship.